We get support from Quince.
So we've been talking about Quince a lot lately, and as we head into fall, it's the perfect time to reset your wardrobe with their amazing pieces. I think it's so fun to do when the seasons turn over to just spruce up your wardrobe with a couple specials, and Quince is the place.
Totally. We're talking organic cotton, Mongolian cashmere, tailored chinos from just $60. Premium fit and quality you'd expect from a luxury brand designer. I love Quince. You know, I like it understated and subtle, and I like stuff that has high quality. And Quince checks all those boxes.
I love a lot of stuff from Quince. Honestly, they have incredible premium denim, which is very important for fall. It's pretty much all I wear in the fall is denim. And Quince has such a good selection of quality denim. Their stuff is so versatile, timeless, and built to last that you just grab every single day without thinking.
Right. And all of that for 50 to 80% less than similar brands. They go direct to ethical factories, cut out the middlemen, so you get all that quality without overpaying for it.
We love that. And they do way more than clothes. They have bedding, cookware, bath essentials, travel must-haves, same deal, and great quality.
Upgrade your everyday. Download the Quince app for app-exclusive offers or go to quince.com/Dax. Get free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada and the UK too. That's QUINCE.com/Dax. We get support from Apple Gift Card. Back to school is here, and for many, that means some big life transitions. Whether they are heading into a new grade or setting up a dorm for the first time, you want to give them something that actually supports their growth and success. Apple Gift Card is a versatile solution because it takes the guesswork out of gifting. It's not just about a new pair of AirPods for focus. It's about giving them the invaluable chance to choose the digital tools and subscriptions that suit their unique journey. They can use it for productivity apps on the App Store, movie nights on Apple TV, or extra iCloud storage for all those new memories. With Apple Gift Card, it's so empowering to give the students their freedom to allocate their own resources. Celebrate their new academic chapter. Visit applegiftcard.apple.com to celebrate their milestones and gift one today.
We get support from Skims. Oh man, do I love Skims. I've been living in the Skims lightweight cotton collection all summer, and I have to tell you, getting dressed has become so easy. I just throw it on. It just feels right immediately, whether I'm grabbing coffee or I'm on the couch all day or I'm out, even going to dinner. The cotton is so lightweight and breathable, which in this heat is a non-negotiable. The cotton jersey t-shirt, I just need everyone to know about this one. This one hugs in all the right places. It's very soft and it still looks and fits the same after months of washing, which is very hard to do, I feel, with t-shirts. I've been wearing the black cotton jersey t-shirt with basically everything all summer long. It goes great with any patterned skirt or shorts or pants. I mean, anything truly. I believe that's probably my favorite piece from the cotton collection, but they also have great lightweight cotton thongs that are so comfortable and they're cute. That is a very, very hard mix to achieve, especially with undergarments. I feel if you can find some that are cute, but also comfortable and do the job, that is a win. And Skims has really, really figured that out with the lightweight cotton collection. Shop Skims cotton and all of my favorite pieces at skims.com. After you place your order, be sure to let them know we sent you. Select podcast in the survey and be sure to select Armchair Expert in the drop-down menu that follows.
Welcome to Armchair Expert. I'm Dax Shepard. I'm joined by Monster Mouse.
This feels like deja vu.
How so?
Because we've already put out this episode once before.
This is our first time ever re-releasing an episode.
Yeah.
But we had the idea to do it without ads just because Eastern Conference final game was just so impressive. It's so impressive what Tom Brady did this season. The fact that he left the Patriots and he went to a team that had not been to the Super Bowl in a long, long time.
Yep.
And through his will, man.
He's taking them there.
Oh, my God. The guy is going again.
It's really...
I keep telling people, even if you're not into sports, this is one of the sports stories that you'll be watching a 30 for 30 about in 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's just miraculous. I want to add a couple things to this. One, this will be his 21st year in... Well, he's the oldest player out there, which is exciting. Two, this is his 21st season. This will be his 10th trip.
Wow.
to the Super Bowl, which means his percentage is like high 48 or something.
That's wow.
I saw a meme that said his odds of making it to the Super Bowl are greater than Steph Curry making a three-pointer, which he's the greatest three-point shooter of all time. Wow. Another thing to think about, there's only been 54 Super Bowls, I think. And the fact that Brady's been in 10 of them now, he's almost been in 25% of the Super Bowls.
It's an absurd.
So just let that set in.
And he looks like how he looks.
Oh, my God. He posted a little video of him and Gronk getting on the airplane after the game. Have you watched it?
No.
Oh, my, I'm going to show it to you right now.
That's cute.
It's just a stupid smile. And it's a repeat from last year. They did it, too, at the airport.
Oh, that's fun. It's a callback.
I'm getting on the bus. Yeah.
It's always him and Gronk. Hey, look at that dumb smile he
they're
does.
Cute. Who's Gronk?
Gronkowski is his tight end who has been on all the Patriot teams with him, and he came down.
Oh, he did. He moved.
Yeah, he was retired, and Tom said, "You're not retiring. We're going to
Really?
the Buccaneers." Yeah, and now they're both going to Super Bowl again.
Do you think Gronk is part of his
Gronk.
magic? Oh. Do you think Gronk is part of his magic?
Yeah.
We got to give him a little credit, right?
Listen, people love Gronkowski. He's a beast, and he has won a bunch of Super Bowl rings. He's very young. I think he retired at 31 or something.
Oh, wow.
And then again, Brady said, no, we're going to do that little walk again onto the airplane next year.
How fun.
Well, we cut out the ads, but we put in 12 minutes of preamble. But please enjoy uninterrupted conversation with the GOAT, the greatest of all time, Tom Brady.
He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
Yeah, what's up, man?
There he is.
You're so official. You got a studio. I just have like a microphone. I don't know whether it's working or not.
There is nothing more fun than watching people like you or Bill Gates try to operate their computer. It's one of the funnest parts of this job.
I bet. Where are you guys at?
We are in an attic that's above a garage at a house we're building that I don't think will ever be done. I think we're at year 3 of it. So it's really just a very expensive garage at this point.
So typical. It's a good typical construction process.
Yes. And it doesn't matter how many times you go through it, you still are shocked with how long and how much it goes over budget each time.
I know. Over budget, the duration. We had a house in Boston. I swear to God, it cost twice as we were 100% over budget. 100%.
Yeah, that seems to be the standard number, I think.
I know. I came out of football season and they showed me the budget and I was like, what the fuck is this? It was pretty rough.
Did you have real jobs as a kid? Like, were you forced to do some manual labor?
I had a couple really great jobs. My first job, I was actually talking about this the other day. My first job was a paper route. Did you ever have paper route?
I did not. I was in Michigan, so I shoveled driveways. That was kind of the equivalent.
That's a good job. That's manual labor. But in elementary school and then start of high school, I had a paper route. And I made, I think, $25 a month. And I was actually talking about that with one of my coaches yesterday because we were talking about our first jobs. And I think it was kind of my job and my mom's job too, because she would drive me around and I would throw the papers out of the side of the car. Maybe it helped me a little bit. I didn't realize it was maybe career training, but it ended up being, pretty good.
Yeah. Work on that arm. So my big barriers were, my mom was single mom raising 3 kids and full-time jobs. She was not going to fucking drive me around. So I was like, oh, this isn't going to work. Everyone I know with a paper route, really, it's their mom's paper route, as you say.
Yeah, I know. We had like one of those Vanagons where the side door slid open. So she could I could literally like ride like sidecar and then like fire them onto and then over the top of the car to like get to the other side of the street. In high school, I didn't do as much because I was playing a lot of sports. In college, I worked in like cleaning industrial manufacturing plants in Michigan, Bloomfield Hills, literally $10 an hour. I was scrubbing ceilings of this like paint. Oh my God. And I kept thinking at the end of the day, like my shoulders were done, my elbows. And I was like, this is the worst job I've ever could ever have imagined.
Yeah, I'm really delighted that you spent some time in Michigan. That's where I'm from.
Yeah.
So I was delighted to learn that you set up camp there in Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy that? And you can be honest. I'll cut it out. If it's totally derogatory, I'll cut it out.
So it looks like we switched places. I was in California, then went to Ann Arbor. And I think it was a long way from home. I think I needed to go away from home. I needed to grow up because I was kind of a California kid. I had 3 sisters. I was the baby. So you could imagine I was probably a little bit soft.
Yeah.
And then going to Michigan, go to the Midwest, go to school, you feel like you're totally outside of your comfort zone. I didn't even own a winter coat. My roommate, Pat Kratis, he gave me my first jacket, and I was like, what the hell do I need this for? And man, when it's 10 degrees in the middle of January, and I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah. You must have looked around and thought, why on earth would anyone live here, right? When I return home, I think, they must just have not ever gone to California. They just don't know that you don't have to be miserable 8 months of the year.
You know what? That's exactly what you think. Because in California, you grow up and you're like, every day is great. Like every day the weather's great. It doesn't rain much, where it's not humid. Outdoor activities, you go hiking, you go biking, you golf, you go to the beach. We go, 3 hours to Tahoe. We go skiing, and it was like your whole world existed in California. And then going away to school, you have like 4 months of good weather. And maybe it's okay sucking it up in college. It's not that big a deal.
But when you think about kids, right, you have kids. And I always think about, oh my God, if I was in my house for 8 months of the year, gray skies, it's a beating.
Yeah. It has its challenge, I think, for the kids. But you know what? Kids are so resilient. Like my kids, they've been in Boston so my daughter's 7, my middle son's 10, and my oldest is 13. But my 10 and 7 have been in Boston, born there. And then we came to Florida for the last 5 months. And my daughter's like, Daddy, what are we going to do for Christmas? Like, there's what are we going to do for Halloween? Is there Halloween in Tampa? And then she keeps saying, every time we eat right out here outside. And it's like 85 degrees. She won't eat outside with us. She goes inside of the house. So she's like, Daddy, I do not like it this hot all the time. But, for me, I'm like, I like it hot every day now. I'm never going back to cold weather. I did 25 years of it.
When you were playing for the Patriots, when you're off season, would you guys return to California or where would you go? Would you stay there?
Yeah, a little bit. Before I met my wife, I traveled quite a bit. She lived in New York. So I'd say from about 2000 when I went to Boston, 2000, 2006, I would travel kind of around the country. I was in my mid-20s, so there was kind of always something to do, 2 days here, 3 days here. And then 2007, my son was born, and we spent the off seasons then in California because that's where he was living at the time. So
right. That makes sense.
Kind of reconnected. I was in Brentwood. That was pretty beautiful.
Well, because what I was wondering is I have a couple different friends who are either they're English and then now they have children here and their kids are American, which I think would be so weird, or vice versa, right? They move to England and they have these English-speaking kids or with the accent. And I think, that must be such a bizarre feeling to have your offspring not really mirror how you are. And is it wild to think that your kids aren't Californians in some weird way? Because I'm wrestling with the idea that my girls are growing up in California and I'm thinking, where will they even aspire to move to? Like in Michigan, I was like, well, that's obvious. I got to get to California, but I don't know where the fuck they're supposed to go.
They should go nowhere.
They're here.
Nowhere, trust me. Let me talk to them when they get a little older. They should stay. Other than the very high tax rate and the traffic and there's a few other inconveniences, but for the most part, it's pretty good. I think the trickier thing for my wife is, think about it. She's Brazilian. So she's raising kids that were Americans that speak, my daughter's, speaks both languages pretty well. My son, I think, hears it from his mom, but then doesn't necessarily always want to communicate it back. But at least he's, getting it. So it's probably a little stranger for her. For me, I think I've been so removed from California. And our kids have had a lot of different experiences, just being in the Northeast. Now we're in the Southeast. They traveled to South America. We've had home in Costa Rica for a long time. They're there. So I took my son to China 2-3 years ago. So.
Oh, no kidding. What do you think of that?
You know what? It was a great trip, for a dad and a son at about 10 years old. I mean, it's pretty amazing just to be together. Like I had a couple of those trips when I was young with my dad. It's probably more special for me than him, but he'll remember it for her. It was pretty sweet.
I try to do that once every year. I try to take one of the two somewhere just with one of them. And yeah, man, it is so special to just be a little team and you're in a hotel room together and you're making your decisions together. It's so fun, isn't it?
Yeah, the one-on-one time is like, from my standpoint, I meet so many people. It's, and they see me as someone different than probably who I feel like I am. My kids see me as dad. So then when you're together one-on-one, you're just doing dad things. And when you have one-on-one and then they say these things and it's just, kind of makes your week or year or month or, there's some really great moments.
I'll even feel guilty because at the end, like day 5 of those trips, we get along so well. And I think, oh shit, if I dedicated this much one-on-one connection, this would be how they'd act. Like when they're acting shitty, it's probably just a response to wanting more of my time that I don't have.
Yeah, I know.
What kind of parents did you have? You're from San Mateo?
Yeah, I grew up just in Northern California, just about 20 miles south of San Francisco in San Mateo. My parents were, just so supportive of me growing up. Everything I did, like I said, I had 3 sisters. So we had a very sports-centric family. My sisters were all into playing, softball and basketball, soccer. So a lot of my childhood was like at sports fields, just that they're going to their softball games at 6 o'clock at night and then going to Round Table Pizza and having dinner with the whole team and then going home and then just thinking it was a great life growing up. But life was so different for us because it existed just in the community that we lived in, We didn't travel the way that my kids would travel now. Our life existed in San Mateo. And if we wanted to go on vacation, we'd go to Santa Cruz or, we'd drive in the car to Pine Mountain Lake, which was 2 hours away, or we'd go to Tahoe once a year in the winter it was a 3-hour drive if our car made it up that hill, to get into
Oh, that's
the
a beating, yeah. Up to 90 or 80 or whatever the hell that is.
30 years ago, there wasn't the same kind of 4-wheel drive. So, yeah, it was just, it was a great nurturing environment for me as a kid.
Was mom or dad an athlete or both?
Yeah, they were both very good athletes. My dad was drafted to be a professional baseball player.
No shit.
The Phillies ended up going to want to be a priest. He went to the seminary in Chicago. Yeah.
What?
Well, that's a left turn.
He became a priest?
No, he didn't. So he was in school. And then the story he always tells me was his friend, his bunkmate, was listening to a transistor radio of a baseball game, World Series game, and got caught by one of the priests and got in a lot of trouble. And at that point, he was kind of like, and then, he realized he wanted to, have a wife and have kids and he
have
just
sex.
Said,
yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say he was at seminary and he got horny.
That wasn't the case, no. But I'm sure he did actually, but he didn't actually tell me that. I don't know if I would tell that to my son.
Do you remember meeting me? And I don't say this to trap you. This is not a test, but do you remember meeting me? Because it was very memorable for me.
Just say yes.
Can you?
No.
I need to don't help me out.
Okay. I'm going to paint the picture for you. I was at the Met Gala, which I had turned down going to like 10 times. My wife always wanted me to go. It's not my scene. Yeah. I go, and you're in front of me. We're in line, like entering the facility. And I don't know it's you yet. I just know that there's a guy in front of me that's considerably larger than me. And I put my hand on your shoulder again, and I didn't know it was you. And I whispered in your ear, "Sir, I'm generally the tallest at these events, so I'm going to have to ask you to leave." And then you turned around and it was fucking you. And then you laughed, which made my night. And that's the one time we met.
That's awesome. I remember that. I actually don't remember that. I don't remember that.
Yeah, I thought it was a really memorable line.
How tall are you?
He's a fucking beast, Monica.
Yes.
What? How many?
6'5".
6'5".
Okay, you're close though.
No.
How tall are
When
you,
you
Dax?
see us next, I'm like 6'2" and a half, almost 6'3", almost 6'2".
Some days 6'4".
You must get that when people meet you in real life. I think because you're surrounded by enormous phenoms physically.
Yeah.
I assume you're my height. And then I see you in person and you're a Goliath. You're like, have you ever met Vince Vaughn?
No, I don't think I have. Is he a Goliath?
He's a fucking giant. And I think when people see him, they're like, oh my goodness. I can't tell in movies, but this guy's a giant.
You're right. I'm around these big guys all the time. So, for me, like when I see like Rob Gronkowski, I'm like, damn, that guy's a beast.
Yeah.
So anything less than that, I'm always like, oh yeah, just kind of, normal height, But when you're tall, you never think about being tall.
Until you're looking up at someone, which is a very rare experience, right? For
Yeah.
you, it's not often that I have to like crane my neck to lock eyes with somebody, but with you, I was really at about 40% craned to hold your gaze.
That's about right. I know. I have that experience at my work. Yeah, I think we were saying the other day, being tall is very good when you're standing, not very good when you're sitting.
Oh yeah, my posture.
Cars, airplanes, seats all day. So has its advantages.
Okay, so you grew up in San Mateo, and I guess I didn't know this until today, until I was learning about you. But you also played baseball, and you were drafted. You actually were drafted for Major League Baseball.
Yeah, I was a pretty good baseball player in high school, and football where I grew up wasn't. In Northern California, outside of, I'd say, like De La Salle, who had a great football program, there weren't a lot of great football programs in NorCal. So it was probably more known for baseball. And I went to a school that was just right down the street from my house, and for high school. And it was always pretty good. One of the trips that I took with my dad when I was younger, when I was 12 for baseball, I went to Japan with him for a Goodwill baseball exchange. So, which was really cool. And it was the first time I'd ever seen my dad drunk. He wasn't drunk and horny. He was just drunk.
Well, we don't know.
I'm sure he was quite horny. He probably just kept that under wraps.
So we were there together, and at 12, but baseball was kind of what I did. And then I got into high school. I still played both sports, but really just fell in love with playing football. And the 49ers were, great. When I was growing up in the 90s, they had a great football team. So that's kind of my most influential years, I would say, as an athlete, was around football, and then still played a lot of baseball. Then when I got a chance to kind of play team sports and play football, it wasn't until my freshman year in high school. And then I just kind of fell in love with football, and then really wanted to focus my time and energy on that.
Oh, so hold on. I guess this is news to me. You had not played football till 9th grade?
Yeah, and nothing organized. Just, flag football in the street and stuff, but nothing organized.
But no like Pop Warner or any of that stuff?
Which was a trip, because when you get to your first day of practice and everyone starts like putting all their pads on and puts their pads in their pants, I'm looking over at them like, how do I put these in my pants? Like, I don't know the shoulder pads. And, it was pretty unique, not to have any experience. And I had other kids who were on my team that had played, Pop Warner and so forth, and they were just so far advanced. And I was so far behind them physically. I probably was a late bloomer anyway, but in terms of playing football, I definitely didn't know the game other than what I watched. And then I always had a pretty good arm, but everyone was always, certainly my first year was a lot better than me. I didn't even play my first year. So I was a backup quarterback my freshman year, and we had a freshman team. There were 3 teams. We were 0-8. So we lost every game we played, and they still didn't think I was good enough to play a game. So I was kind of looking up at everybody, thinking, oh, I still love playing because it was a great team sport, and then got a shot my second year to play.
Were you a pitcher when you played baseball?
I played pitcher. I really like being a catcher because you're kind of in control as a catcher. Pitcher is great, but it actually was very taxing on my arm. My arm hurt a lot when I would play pitcher, and I wasn't a great pitcher. And, just the baseball and how you throw a baseball. I was a really good hitter and a decent fielder, but not a great pitcher.
I would be nervous for you playing catcher at your height. I mean, your knees, I'm worried about your knees.
That hurt a lot. So that was the thing. Ironically, baseball, I always thought, took more of a toll on me than football has. I have plenty of injury football, but I think back to my high school days, and I would ice my knees after every game. I would ice my elbow after every game. It was constantly aching, and
again, I don't know a ton about sports, but they do say, right, throwing a baseball is a very unnatural. It's not like your arm's not really designed to move in the manner by which you must use it in baseball.
Yeah. I think we were meant to be overhanded athletes for sure. Throwing, baseballs, throwing footballs, throwing javelins, things like that. There's definitely, I would say, more stress on your arm just because the velocities at which you throw a baseball. You can throw a baseball harder. So if you throw it harder, there's more force and torque on the different ligaments, tendons in your elbow and shoulder, your muscles. Probably a little easier to get strained because you're moving at much faster speeds. We still throw really hard in football, but if I throw a really hard football, it's probably 62 miles an hour. They're throwing 102 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's bonkers. It doesn't even seem like you could even make your arm move at 100 miles an hour, much less something leaving your arm.
Yeah, there's just ends up being a lot of force on your arm. And I felt that when I was playing baseball. And as I played football, it was still a little bit, just kind of maturing and growing, but it was less taxing on my body to play football than it was to play baseball.
Now, back to your size. When did you become this enormous human being? What age?
Wait, enormous is like 6'8". I'm 6'4".
Listen. You're totally misled because of your peers and your colleagues and your coworkers, but you're a phenomenally large human being. So when did you come into this?
I probably had a growth spurt my freshman year, and then again probably later in my sophomore year. And then by my junior year, I was about the same height, about 6'4", maybe a little more growing.
But skinny as shit?
I was kind of like the typical American kid, I would say. Like, I would never give my kids what I ate when I was a kid. I look at pictures and I was just chunky little kid that would drink root beer floats and eat. The only thing I ever wanted to eat was bacon cheeseburgers as a kid. And, it reflected in my shape of my body. And then finally I got to high school and I would eat terrible food. I would eat, a big muffin with butter in the morning with hot chocolate thinking that was breakfast, and get to school with 2 donuts. Then at lunch at like the break, you'd have a hot dog, like a 50-cent hot dog. And then at lunch it would be like clam chowder and a bread bowl. I mean, you couldn't hit every bad food, And then I would get home and I'd have like nachos with like Tubbo cheese. And then my mom would try to make something good for us at night. But it's kind of how you grew up. It was like cereal or.
It's so funny you'd say that. Yesterday I was at 7-Eleven and this guy next to me ordered a slice of pizza from 7-Eleven, right? And I said to the guy, he had a mask on, as we all had masks on, so I couldn't really tell. And I says, "Hey, do you mind me asking how old you are?" And the guy goes, 20. And I'm like, okay, that makes perfect sense. And he goes, well, what do you mean? And I go, well, in my 20s, I ate probably 10 to 14 hot dogs a week from 7-Eleven because they were 2 for $1.
Yeah.
I'm like, but if I eat one now, I'm out for the day. I feel horrendous the next day. I'm so sensitive now.
I know.
But in your 20s, boy, you can just shovel that garbage right in there and you don't even notice.
You don't even know it. You don't even care. In college, we would get these, we called them pizza cards. The football team had a deal with like Subway, and we had a place in Ann Arbor called the Cottage Inn. And then we go to Subway and I would eat like 18 inches of sandwich, at a time of meatball. And if I wasn't healthy, I was going only 1 slice of cheese all the way across instead of 2 slices, and it's like, I look back now and I'm like, I don't know how I did it.
But you felt great, right? That's the thing that's so annoying is now I'm 16 years sober. I eat pretty damn good. I eat the tiniest thing and I literally feel it like I'm hungover. But back then, man, I was drunk and smoking cigarettes and eating 7-Eleven hot dogs. Felt like $1 million.
Yeah, I think we did. I think our memory is probably a little different because I didn't always feel great. I was a kid, so I was obviously, bouncing off walls because, the responsibility is the thing that gets you. It's like, when soon as you get responsibility, it starts the mental fatigue of responsibility weighs on your life, which probably makes you feel worse than the foods you eat. So,
yeah, a lot of it is probably placebo. Like I feel naughty, so then I feel naughty afterwards.
Yeah.
I'm curious. So let me just start with a couple things. I don't follow sports all that much, but I follow the Patriots.
Yeah.
I fucking love you. I talk about you so frequently. It would scare you how often you come up.
Thank you.
It's not just the skill level on the field, which is unbelievable. But again, seeing you in real life, I find it absolutely perplexing that had you not chosen football, you could have probably been a supermodel. Right, Monica?
For sure, yeah.
It's unfair. You're so good looking. And I just find that to be so curious in the same way that I think it's interesting that Kobe and Michael Jordan are also gorgeous.
Yeah.
That's a lot of good fortune.
Yeah, definitely a lot of good fortune. Thank you. I don't even know what to say, man. You got me freaking speechless.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to get you on the run today.
You are.
But there's a real question behind that. Is confident? Have you had a lot?
Yes.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is as you look at some of these really Joe Montana, that was your guy, right? You love Joe Montana.
Yeah.
It's suspicious that some of these greats were also really good looking. And I feel like it has to play some role. Does it play a role in the confidence? I think even in that movie Moneyball, those guys sitting around the room, they're talking, well, he's a beautiful kid. Let's get him. He's confident. Like, that's been a part of the rationale, hasn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I think that over time for me, I've tried to improve my habits, you know, and I think that's helped with maintaining, you know, a healthy body, physique, you know, skin, lung, you know, organ, everything, you know, and I think if you just want to, I always say, like, you know, it's one body we have. You either have a fundamental belief that you believe what you put into your body matters, or it doesn't matter. And if it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. So, you know, that's a choice people make. If you believe that it does matter, then you got to believe that the more good things you do, the better. You know, and I think for me, when I think about it, when I was a kid, you know, I would never have developed into the athlete that I am, let's say at 43 years old today, had I not made substantial changes and differences in how I approached, you know, my life, eating, sleeping. You know, I would drink when I was in college 3 nights a week and then go play sports and then, you know, wonder why you didn't have great gains in the weight room or didn't have great gains on the field. And then all of a sudden I said, try and something a little bit different, maybe drink a little less. Okay, great. And then it was like, drink a little less, sleep a little more. And then it was like, okay, do that and then work out a little bit. Oh, let me just change my diet a little bit. Okay, great. Let's start adding electrolytes to what I'm doing. Oh, let me try some supplements, some vitamin D, some vitamin C. And then it wasn't like everything at one time. It's just, but if I look at my 18-year-old body, I actually posted a picture on my Instagram, 2001 of me. And I look at myself and I look like a different person, you know, and it's it's a 20 years time has changed. A lot has changed, but I look from this kid that I was, which was underdeveloped, you know, poor diet, you know, poor hydration. And then now it's like I think about those things, or they're really a purposeful part of my day. I prioritize my health because, you know, my health has been important to my career, you know, and when it's important to career, it's not like, hey, I have a job, but also I train. It's like this is my job. Yeah. I'm very fortunate to be able to dedicate the time and energy to it, but I've seen the transformation it's made. And then now my hope is like, I wish everyone would be able to experience what it feels like to not, you know, be in pain every day, to not be
overcoming something at all times.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just, because it's quality of life. You know, we have all these lives and we have one life. And, you know, I have guys have started playing with me when you know, same age. I got coaches that are younger than me, you know, that are on the field. And I look at them and they don't move well, you know, and it's like, I'm sitting here playing a really demanding sport. And there's a lot of discipline that goes into making those decisions that allow that to happen. But what I want to represent as I move forward is like, hey guys, I was the typical kid, actually. I wasn't like born like Michael Jordan. I wasn't born with like LeBron. Like LeBron, I admire more than, I mean, I love LeBron, but like, you know.
He's also a phenom out of the womb.
Tiger Woods and, you know, some of these phenoms are, you know, they have incredible talents. Let's say Michael Jackson, you know, you think of some of these that you saw when they were kids. And then I see myself as a kid. I'm like, damn, I was nothing like those people. You know, I was like this. If you saw me, you would never say, oh, yeah, you know, Tom's going to be playing 21 years in the NFL. So I actually feel like, you know, I can teach people, guys, if you're willing to commit and have some discipline, you know, make a commitment to your health, you can achieve some really great things.
That's a really great point because I even had it in my own life, right, where I had an idea of what I was genetically, right? And then I'm looking at my lineage, right? And most shepherds are, I don't know, 70 to 80 pounds overweight. You know, I come by it honestly. And then in my mind, I was someone who, well, I'll never have a six pack. I'm not one of those guys. I saw those guys in the locker rooms, blah, blah, blah. And then I did one movie where I decided I'm going to hire a trainer. I'm going to do the diet. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, I was just telling myself that stuff, you know, and that's not to say everyone has the potential to do anything, but I'll just say from my own experience, I had a potential much greater than I ever was assuming I did. Yeah. And there's some weird confidence builder in that where you go, oh, well, maybe I should question every limit I've put on myself, right? That all these things I think I wasn't, you know, predisposed to be, I should challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, you know, being naive allowed me to accomplish a lot of things. Like when people said, oh, you're going to go to college like and play football and recruit, I was like, fucking course I am. Like, what do you think? And I had my counselor in high school that was like, are you crazy? Like, you know, we're applying for schools. And I was like, applying? I don't need to apply. I'm playing college football.
Yeah. Backup plan? What are you talking about?
Exactly.
Like, okay, you mean backup team if I don't get to play for the team I wanted?
I know, exactly. And then when I was drafted by the Patriots, it was the same thing. That was like, I'm going to play pro football. Like, what are these people talking about? And then when I got to the Patriots, it was like, of course I'm going to be the starting quarterback, here at some point. Like, what are you guys, you're tripping. Like, of course I see it. And then I look back and I'm like, I mean, the odds to overcome all those things.
You're so right. Naivete is a gift.
Yeah.
I am curious, though. A couple things were surprising to me today. As just someone who's just been in love with you physically, I wouldn't have guessed. I wouldn't have known that you got selected 199th in the draft. Would you have thought that, Monica?
No.
Like 6th round, 199th pick.
Yeah.
Ends up being the greatest quarterback of all time.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's so fucking cool. I'm almost prefer that that's your story, right?
Yeah. I've done it for so long. So like I'm playing with one of my teammates said the other day to me, he's like, bro, when you won the Super Bowl the first time, I was 14, And he said, I was in 4th grade.
Oh, geez. Yikes.
And I sit here and think, wow, because, I have so many of these people that see me now and think, oh man, that's like Tom Brady. He's like, I'm 18. He was already a Super Bowl champ when I was born, and I'm sitting here thinking, God damn, there's been a long, hard road. That hard road is part of my, whether it's a chip on my shoulder or whether it's think about the things that have motivated you to say, fuck it, I'm going to keep going another day. I'm not going to stop and I'm going to build on this and I'm going to be better the next time. And people would look at me and be like, what are you talking about? Like you're there, but they never saw the pre-22 years of my life where that wasn't the case. And then those 22 years shaped me into who I was at 23. And then, okay, how can I build on being a little bit better every day, a little bit better? Because, when you make the changes in your life they don't happen necessarily cold turkey overnight. It's like, making things better or worse is sometimes momentarily,
Yeah. Baby steps, incremental change, all that. We've had a bunch of different experts on here to talk about the process of change and how, it's like, it's just really tiny stuff and it's tying it to stuff maybe that you already do. And there's all these hacks, right? It seems intimidating on the surface just to go like, fuck, I'm never going to be Tom Brady. And it's like, well, guess what? Tom Brady didn't become Tom Brady in an afternoon either.
Yeah. For sure. And I think all Tom Brady, as I speak about myself in the third person.
I'll do it with you.
I think when I think about that, it's been like just steady progress over perfection. It's like we weren't born like that. Let's make it a little better every day. Whether that's whatever it is, it's. If you're aware of it, then you can focus on it. Now, if you're aware of it and you can focus, you can prioritize. And if you can prioritize and be disciplined, you can achieve really great results. Now, if you don't care and you just, fuck it, I'll wake up, do whatever I want to do, and be impulsive, say, oh, I'm this or that, I want to do this or that. And a lot of us live, I lived like that at one point. And then I found something that worked better, and then I just tried to repeat that. And it's worked out.
Well, what I like about you a lot is you're not standing anywhere with a megaphone saying, be like me. I think what you've done with your book, and every time I've seen you interviewed, it's like, hey, I can just tell you what I'm about. That may inspire you or not. I have no program that humans should be on. I'm not saying, and I've dug that about your kind of messaging.
I think it's just maximizing your potential.
Some people are interested in that and some people aren't, and that's totally fine as well.
Yeah, for sure. And we all have choices. It's our life. And but your potential could be whatever it is, and everyone gets that choice. And, I think you've got to be able to have people help you. No one can do it alone. It's great to have supportive family, friends, mentors to help you say, hey, man, you're struggling a little bit. Let me help you out, or let me give you a shortcut. And then how great in the world of technology that we can listen to shows like yours to say, man, you got this really cool person on. What can I take? What can I learn? And we're such in a world of information. Hopefully, we can hack some of these things, that before we couldn't. 15 years ago, we couldn't because we couldn't share this type of information.
So you must have watched Last Dance. Did you watch Last Dance?
Yeah, I loved it. It was amazing.
I mean, what a ride, huh? Yeah, he's so fucking impressive in so many ways. We got to talk to Bill Gates the other day, and I asked him if he watched it, and he did, and he loved it. And I was like, could you relate? I mean, there's only a handful of people currently alive that can kind of relate to him, Bill Gates being one of them, you being one of them. Did you feel a kinship with his kind of drive and his dedication?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of similar feelings, emotions that he went through that I've gone through at one point or another, and I think there's so many, being in locker rooms and road trips and wins and losses. And I think the thing about sports, is like we're not acting, this is our real life. This is a real Tom Brady on the field, my real emotion. I'm not playing a role. I'm playing myself.
Well, you can't even hide it. There's 1,000 cameras pointed at you. We're going to see whatever that experience is for you.
Yeah. And I think that's a little different, like if you look at, someone like Michael Jordan, it was the same thing for Michael. And I think what you saw in that documentary was, wow, that's really him. Like that's what we saw. That's really Michael. I don't know how anyone can't be a Michael Jordan fan. I'm a huge Michael Jordan fan just because how he approached his life. And he was someone I always looked up to. I had all his posters in my room. And
you could make him feel old. You could tell him you had a poster when you were 8, I'm sure. You could return the
I think
favor.
I had a Spike Lee one where he was holding Spike Lee.
Oh, Spike Lee's head.
That was pretty sweet. So
yeah. So there's a moment in Last Dance where we kind of learn, and maybe it was conveniently constructed for the sake of storytelling, but I don't think so. I think the dynamic of him having the older brother that was better than him, and then having a father whose affection he wanted tremendously, and rightly or wrongly identifying that if he could beat that brother, he could win that dad's attention.
Yeah.
That seems to be the chip on his shoulder that drove him so successfully. What's the chip on your shoulder? Do you know? Have you thought much about it?
I think there's always been doubt around what I could achieve. And I think that's what it was. There was always heard the people say, he'll never do that. He'll never be the starting quarterback in high school by senior year, and he'll never go to a real good Division I school and play football. He should just stick around and play, at a local school. And then he'll never be a pro quarterback, certainly never be a starting quarterback. I'd say I'm very I'm motivated. I have a real strong fire that burns based on me never wanting to let myself down. Giving less than my best effort is probably a real hard thing for me. I have my 10-year-old son is very hard on himself. And I'm trying to tell him like, bro, this is not the path you want to go down. Let's just breathe a little bit. And I remember crying about being stressed out about something in 5th grade. And that is born. That's not.
Yeah. Just genetically, you're kind of wired that way.
You're just wired
right?
to have this part of me that was I didn't want to be less than my best. If I thought I should have won, I was going to win. If I thought I was going to. Now, there's some things that I didn't have a lot of interest in. I was not a very good student. I tried just hard enough, but no interest. I just didn't feel like, school was the highest priority.
A good use of your time.
It certainly wasn't, to be honest. So I went to college and people are like, what'd you major in? I'm like, fucking football, man. I was there to play football. And I just got a 3.2 GPA or 3.3 GPA, but I didn't, I wasn't going there to hey, what is my career going to be? My career was going to be.
What degree did you even pick up?
So it was called General Studies.
Yes.
So
Okay.
It was basically so I could pick the classes I wanted to go to. So, and it didn't require
a degree in General Studies.
Studies.
Yeah.
So
I remember in my college, I took one class that was Dance 101, and it wasn't dancing. You just sat in a class and they taught you about dance, and all of the football players were in that class because it was so clearly just this is where you'll get your passing grade, and you go ahead and take that.
They got to keep us eligible. You know that. Come on.
Exactly.
I know, Dex. I know you went to UCLA. I love UCLA. That was a great school.
Oh,
beautiful place.
Me too.
My niece is there now. My niece is a softball player.
Oh, no kidding.
She was the freshman of the year last year in the Pac-10.
No shit.
She's a little stud. So I love UCLA, man. Before everything shut down, I was out there for a game, and it was sweet.
But back to when the people were saying he's not going to, or you're fooling yourself, what were they hanging that argument on? Were they saying was it a size thing? Was it a natural talent thing? What were the critiques?
No, I think it was probably just natural talent. There were other kids that were always bigger, always faster, always stronger. I was always kind of right there, but they were always more potential. And even I really faced that every step of the way. Even when I got to, college, it was there were other kids with more potential, and then I got to the pros and it was other kids with more potential. And it's just, you think, okay, well, why didn't they make it? Why was I the one that made it other than I would say people probably misvalue things. They put value on things that probably don't matter. And there's the other things that they should value more that probably they don't. There's a lot of those stories.
Yeah, we just had an expert on, Angela Duckworth. Her work is all on grit. She's a professor at Penn, and yeah, if you want to measure something in the students that's going to predict their achievement, it is not intelligence. It's not all these things we would think. It is grit more than any other thing. And I find that to be so true in acting and any damn thing. It's like, yeah, grit, man, that's 80% of it half the time.
Because think about it too. It's like the smartest kid, it's like, what are they learning through whatever, the beginning of the competitive part of life to a working career? And you think of kids who are really smart, okay, or people who could process really quickly, or who were great athletes. And in the end, what skills did they develop over time that were sustainable? And I think for me, what did I learn? I learned that if I was going to achieve anything, it was going to be through really hard work. That I was always behind everybody. So I always felt like I had to work twice as hard. I was always looking at people that were better than me. So I had to observe what made them better than me.
Yeah.
And I think when all of the other things are stripped away, like I would say a natural talent, whatever it is, something that God really blessed you with, then what's left? And if you haven't developed those other traits, then when you do face adversities, they become adversities. They don't become another opportunity for you to overcome something like you did basically your whole life. So when I got to professional sports, I had really worked hard and competed every day. So by the time I got to professional level, I was like, you want to compete? Let's go. You want to compete? Let's roll. I know how to compete, And other guys who never had to compete because they were always the best in high school and they were always the best in pros. Now they're like sitting here going, what do you mean compete? I never even learned. I just was the best.
I was thinking about that when I was trying to imagine like your life and particularly the way you've approached it. And I want to talk about it, but your commitment to diet, all these things. I mean, you are working this job of yours, 24/7. It's very admirable. And I imagine exactly that. I was thinking over your 21 years, you must have seen so many people arrive in that locker room who were just phenoms, right? They're Bo Jackson. They have some physical prowess that's just crazy. And you must have observed so many people that could have just been absolutely legendary that just didn't do it.
Yeah.
It must be kind of heartbreaking.
There's parts that I see and I try to tell them, and I'll say more recently, like I'll say, hey, how great do you want to be? How great do you want to be? And they'll be like, what do you mean? And I'm like, no, I know you're great. But like, how great do you really want to be? Because I think you could be better than anybody. And they're like, huh?
Yeah, most people probably, right? They set their sights on something that has existed. So it's like if they're a wide receiver, if they end up as good as whatever wide receiver that's in their mind, then they've accomplished it. But someone like you, I mean, just on paper, it's inarguable. You've won more Super Bowls than anyone. You've been there more times. You've won more games. You just all these things.
Stop, please.
I got a whole list I wrote down if you want to hear it. It's fucking. By the way, your
oh my God, your
Wikipedia page is way too long. You need to get somebody to. I mean, it was 35 pages long.
That's right. Just exit out.
But yeah, 4 Super Bowl MVPs. If your goal was only to have been as good as Joe Montana or someone else, then we wouldn't have learned the limits of what someone could be. If your war seems to have been with yourself, which I think is the best war you can have, as long as you're better than the guy from last year, you're on the right path. So yeah, you don't even know what's possible.
And I didn't learn these things over time because you don't have a lot of these thoughts, when you're 20 or 25 or 30. But, you have kids and you start thinking more, you have a little more perspective and you're a little wiser and you've told a lot of stories over the years and you think, what's really going to stick? And I said to my kids the other day, I said, is it most important to do your best? Or is it more important to do the best? What's going to be more fulfilling for you in your life? To do your best or do the best?
That's an interesting question.
And we're so conditioned to do the best. And the reality is doing your best and not being attached to the best is going to allow you to, have probably more, whatever it could be, emotional stability, or, you become attached to being better than your brother or being better than this other person. And inherent letdowns and all those things, which maybe they're okay because you're going to help you grow and toughen up a little bit too.
But you're right. There's built-in limits. It's a finite goal. If the goal is to be as good as someone else or marginally better, then it's finite.
Yeah.
As opposed to if I'm bettering myself, who knows where this goes?
Yeah. And if we focused on achieving, a little more each day, and again, it's just, I encourage a lot of people to like set some goals, man, like set some real goals.
Yeah. Write them on fucking paper. Pick up a pen.
And then give them to your friend or give them to your wife and say, look, just check me on these.
Yeah. Inviting people to make you accountable, I think, is really powerful.
And that's part of every aspect of, self-improvement is have a self-awareness. Hey, what do I need to do a better job of? A, in my career. B, my personal life. Hey, how do I need to do to help my, friends, help my kids, help my wife? And then just every day, it's just, you try to do a little bit better.
If you ever need help helping your wife, you have my number now. I'm at your disposal to help your wife anytime she needs help.
So sweet.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for
he's so
noticing.
sweet.
I am very
Yeah.
benevolent.
Shit.
This wasn't a question I had thought of earlier, but now that I'm talking to you, I was watching a documentary about either Tiger Woods or John Daly. I imagine you know both those guys. And there's this really, really profound conversation they had where they had just finished a tournament and John Daly said to Tiger Woods, hey, come have a drink with us. And Tiger Woods said, if I had your skill, I would go have a drink with you, but I don't. So I got to go back out and practice.
Yeah.
Now that I remember, it was John Daly telling the story, and you could tell he took pride in that, as you should. Tiger Woods is telling you that you're naturally better, but it's a very heartbreaking story at the same time because you look at the difference in their careers. So I was wondering, in that same vein, was there anybody that you were actually envious of with your job that you were like, fuck, if I had what they had coupled with what I'm willing to bring to it, this could be something. Can you remember a player that you were envious
In
of?
professional football, I mean, there's been so many over the years. I mean, if I look at like some guys who physically obviously have a lot more ability, they're faster, they're bigger, they can run, they can, I think there's some things that I've learned to do probably better over time, because I've been working hard at it for a long time. But, my 5th year in the league, I was no, freak of nature.
Right.
But I look at some guys who maybe were great physically, run a 4.6 40. I'll joke all the time. I'll see a guy run like a 4.7 40, which is pretty fast. I would say like the average NFL quarterback probably runs, a 4.8, 4.9. The fast guys run like 4.7. The slow guys run like 5 flat and over. I ran a 5.3. I was slow as shit.
There we go.
I was the slowest person on the field. I couldn't outrun a 350-pound defensive lineman. So every time I got the ball in my hands, it's like a hot potato. I'm like, where does someone at? I got to throw this thing, because I'm going to get killed if I'm holding this thing. So, I look at these
ref was going to outrun me.
Yeah, the ref got me. Yeah, exactly. So, I'm sitting here thinking, God, if I could run a 4.7, football would be so easy. I mean, how easy would this sport be if I could run away from people?
And again, that could be a limit you could have given yourself. Well, I just won't be that because I don't have that. This is such a side note, but one of the refs, again, I don't watch a ton of football. One of the refs appears to be about 65 and is fucking jacked.
Yeah.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, he's retired
What's
now.
that guy's?
His name,
he is.
His name's Ed Hockley, yeah.
I knew you would know.
Yeah, he was jacked.
Monica, this guy looked like Lou Ferrigno. Yeah, I'd live for when he would get on that mic and talk because his biceps would be bouncing around like they're going to fall. And I'm like, what's this guy doing?
I know.
Wow.
He took a lot of pride. He was a very healthy guy. So, and a great ref. That was his thing.
Another thing I just thought of that was related to Last Chance. So there's a moment in Last Chance. I wonder if you had this thought. Monica and I were
Last
watching
Dance
it
or
together.
Last Chance U?
Last Dance. I do want to talk about Last Chance
Thanks, Monica.
too. Also
appreciate
great.
that.
Yeah.
Had a girl.
Okay, so Last Dance. There is a moment where Michael makes a shot while playing for the Tar Heels, and it's a buzzer beater to win the whole shebang.
Yep.
And you watch that shot, and maybe I'm making too much of it, but I said to myself, man, he makes that shot, and for the rest of his life, he can make that shot. He doesn't make that shot, and he probably can never make that shot.
Yeah.
And you're such a clutch player. I mean, there's nothing more thrilling than watching you guys be down and I'm watching the clock and I'm like, I would be in a full-fledged panic attack. And you seem to shine the brightest in those moments. And I wonder, was there a moment that defined you as a clutch player? Did something happen early on that told you have that gear?
I would say some of it was confidence, like at a younger age in sports. And I was a pretty good baseball player. And when we would play in big games in baseball, I would do a pretty good job. And I was really prepared. And football came. And in college, I had some real great comebacks. My college was really challenging. I was a long ways from home. I was, there was less support for me than there were for a lot of other competitors. And I really felt at different times I was kind of there on an island. And I had to learn to dig deep or it would have broken me. And because I really found a way to dig deep, and I had a few great mentors there. Greg Harden was our team psychologist, who I think the world of. And then another good friend of mine who's a head coach at Bowling Green, Scott Leffler, who is kind of a friend quarterback coach. But those two in particular were like, I see it in you. I see it in you. When I didn't necessarily see it in myself. And they gave me some tools. Try this. Look at things this way, not that way. Look at it. This is an opportunity. This is not a negative. This is an opportunity. Take advantage of it. And I was just, again, it worked out. So when it worked out, I was like, fuck, more of that. Yeah. And I would see Greg as our psychologist twice a week, and how do I get in more of a frame of mind, and then it was, how do I work a little more? I tried that different technique throwing the ball. All right, what else can I tinker with? And I think the ability to learn through high school, college, then get to the professional level. I went to the Patriots the first year Coach Belichick was there. And there's no better person to help teach you quarterbacking than Bill Belichick, And there's just all these things at one time. I'm sitting and I look on my life and I go, there were so many things that broke my way, that how lucky am I to have these people come into my life at these moments where I was ready and open to accept. And then they appeared. And then it was like, it's still that way. It's like when I think something's going to happen, it happens. And I don't know what the collective forces of, coming together.
I don't think I even thought of that till you just said it, and it's so goddamn obvious. But sorry, I just said goddamn. It's so obvious. Well, I like to respect
This is your
people.
show.
Yeah. No. But you're religious, I think. So I didn't mean to take God's name in vain. In front of you, I'll do it not when you're not around. But Belichick, the fact that you two get to be a team like that is pretty incredible.
Yeah. At the same time, he's young, motivated, had already a coaching stint, learned from his previous stint as a coach where he got fired, and then was just came in and he was ready and he wanted to prove to everybody and he was going to work as hard as possible. I was ready. I was ready to prove to everybody. There was a lot of other guys on our team that were ready. And, it's just like,
everything lined up.
It's a perfect storm of a lot of different events over long periods of time that all broke a certain way. And if I would have missed out on one of those opportunities, that would have been really hard for me because that's the kind of person that is inside of me. If I screw it up, then I don't feel like I may ever deserve another one.
Well, you're going to kick your own ass. We learned that about you. You love to give yourself a nice lashing, I'm sure.
Yeah. That's good. That's a good motivator.
I have a real quick question because you just talked about religion and it just reminded me. You grew up religious?
Catholic,
yeah.
So I wonder if those principles are folded into who you are, and this being hard on yourself, having high values, perfection, it probably all ties together, right? In some way?
Yeah, it could be from that. And certainly, again, I think for me growing up, the support at home, I think my motivator was never to let anybody down, And I think in my career, I've been in the same place for a long time, let's say in Boston, people weren't getting fired every year there, because I was doing my job and I didn't ever want to be the reason why we lost games. I didn't ever want to be a reason why something caused other people pain. And that's probably a lot like my mom, truthfully. My mom takes on everybody, sure, like a lot of moms out there, takes on everybody's pain, everybody's strife, everybody's heartache. She's just always the one taking it. And some people could take it and gone. She takes it and lives it. And I'd say there's a part of my mom that I'm probably more like her, where I take that on and I just want peace.
I was just going to add that among these weird variables, as you were talking, I'm thinking, you're uniquely coachable, right? You're uniquely open to seeing the team psychologist and listening to the one coach. And I was thinking, I have to imagine you benefited from having 3 older sisters, is like generic as that is to say.
Yeah.
Like women, there's nothing but I teach my daughter how to ride a motorcycle. She can get it in 5 seconds because she listens to me. She's not like me, who's got a fucking so much to prove. I know everything. You can't teach me anything. Yeah. I think maybe you just growing up with older sisters too made you more available to that kind of instruction.
Yeah, and I think when you're growing up with 3 sisters, you're receptive to what's going on in the house, and you're probably a bit more intuitive emotionally, because I'd say my sisters like to talk about a lot of things, and I didn't have a lot of bros in the house. I had my friends, but really I was like, my sisters would dress me up in their dresses. I was just a tag along. I was just a tag along kid. So it was, now my dad, like, he would try to get me, hey, let's go play golf. Let's go. And I love sports, so there was a great connection there. But I think I had the benefit of both those things, right? 3 sisters that I had definitely have athletic genes in my body, but then being around these fields and competition and sports and wanting to win. And I'd say another intangible that, let's say, wasn't speed or size or strength, was very competitive. Like, I was a kid, man. I had a remote control, a Nintendo, and if I lost, that fucking remote got slammed on the floor 50 times, and it'd be blowing up. And I'd be like, my sisters would be like, what is wrong with you? And I just, the rage of losing.
That freaky chemical testosterone that was so foreign to them. Yeah.
It was, and it exploded. That still is the case. That's all good, and all of a sudden I just get so fucking mad, and it's just, that's part of my personality.
I read a lot of biographies of ex-titans of industry. I'm kind of obsessed with like Cornelius Vanderbilt and Rockefeller and all these people.
Yeah.
And what they all shared in common was they construct this life that they really end up loving, and then it quickly transitions to longevity. They all became obsessed with like how to live really long because they had done what they wanted and they created a world they loved being in.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, what is it like for you? You must have an interesting relationship with time, knowing that this thing you've dedicated your whole life to has a shelf life, and that it'll end, and that you're already technically kind of in borrowed time. Are you the oldest player in the league?
I think so. I think I am.
That's so wild, isn't it?
I think I am. I'd like to refer to as most experienced.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
But yes, I know what you mean.
Okay, so I think you might be the most experienced player in the league right
That's
now.
That's way better.
Were you always aware of it? Did you lose sight of it? Like, how conscious have you been of the time clock that's on your life?
Yeah, I felt it naturally in sports. You're reminded of it all the time, because it's every year, it's the new crop of kids and the draft and this and, and you're like, when's this guy going to be finished? And I think, emotionally, it's a different thing because I would say football was my first love. And I started when I played, on the street in my neighborhood with my friends on Portola Drive in San Mateo. And that's where my happiest moments are, outside of, I'd say, my kids, being with my family. Being on the football field is pure joy. In the moment, living my very highest and best calling, just literally like in the zone.
You're born to do it. This is what you're born to do.
I'm on the field the other day and I'm like, I just fucking love football. I don't know what it is. I just love it. And, unfortunately for a lot of guys, they love it too. Some are physically not gifted enough to play. Some are physically gifted and something tragic happens. Personally, it could be with them, could be some of their fans, they'll get the opportunity. And some have great potential and then 2 years in, injured. And I think I got to a point at about, as I started to improve all those different things I talked about through college, take some more different supplements, a little more hydrated, start to take care of my body. Then I started thinking about, wow, I'm feeling better now, let's say at age 27, 28 than I did when I was 23. Like, wow, that's really good. And by the way, I know a lot more now. And then I was 31 and I'm like, this is getting easier physically, not harder. My brain is learning more, just like everyone in their career. What you do, you're going to get better at, right? What you put your mind, with your time and energy in, you're going to improve in, good or bad. And I started to think at that point, why am I going to stop playing? why would I stop? Because everyone would stop, and they definitely don't enjoy playing sports and football if you're hurting. And if you're in pain, you're not going to play. It's too hard. It's too much to overcome. So most guys, they just get to the point where their body hurts too much every day in practice. They're like, I can't do it. And for me, I did something different. I took a different path. And that path of learning brought me to a guy who's my best friend. I still work with him every day, my business partner, Alex Guerrero. And it's like, we created this thing that I said, I really want to share. We talk about maximizing potential, and everyone's going to have that. He taught me so much. And the way that we've worked together has, I have perspective. I look at what everyone else is doing. I'm in a locker room with every guy for 20 years. I look at everything they're doing, everything they're taking, the way they eat, the way they talk about their body. And I'm just constantly going, okay, that doesn't work. That doesn't, he's onto something. That doesn't work. And then you incorporate him in your routine, and then you get to go prove it. So what am I doing at 43? I'm still doing what I love to do.
So I have a bunch of sports endeavors. They're all motorsports related. And I just recently had a bad accident at the motorcycle track a week and a half ago. I'm supposed to be wearing a sling. I just had surgery. I'm trying to figure out. And it's hard. I'm like, when do I not have the skill set anymore? When is my age when am I going to have to confront that this is no longer for me? And by the way, it scares the shit out of me to imagine not doing it. It's like one of the greatest sources of joy in my life. So have you felt any decline, or how do you monitor that in yourself?
Yeah, I think yes and no. I think I definitely feel like I have to work really hard at the recovery part of the sport. So it's not just like the physical training to prepare for it. It's the preparation for the performance, the recovery of the performance.
And a lot of people have not traditionally prioritized that part, right? That's kind of a new movement to really be aware of the recovery aspect of all this.
Yeah, because, inherently we're taught that hard work is going to get you that everywhere you want to go. So if I can work out once a day, if I work out twice a day, I'll be better. And my view of that is if you're working hard at the wrong things, you're getting better at getting worse. So if you're working hard at the right things, you know what to do, you have the right routine, the right process, you work hard at those things, you're going to see significant improvement. I could go out there and practice football plays. If they're all shitty football plays, I could run them 5 times. I could run straight through a script and do it again and again, and then go out and play a game. And you know what? They're still bad plays. So if you run a good routine, you have a good process, then I think you see the benefit. And if you see the benefit, then you're going to experience, again, that's closer to your goal setting or what your priorities are, what you want to be. I want to be a better dad. I want to play with my kids. I want to play golf on the weekends. I want to ride my motorbike. I still want to have good instincts on the motorbike. I still want to be able to have, great instincts on the bike and then absorb taking a different fall or a hit. Or I want to go skiing and not have my knees hurt. I want to go skiing and ski like I did. And I think all those things, because being active is, for me, that's a very important part of my life. It's like I'm active every day. I just got to kind of like a kid. I just got to burn some energy. And if I don't, then, I just feel like agitated all day. And then that's kind of my high.
Irritable.
There's a high in, about training and working out. And then the fulfillment of, okay, I achieved something that, I wanted to go train hard. I did. Now, how do I recover for the next day and then do it again? And do it again and do it again. And practice, I didn't get good at it.
I keep waiting for you to compliment me on how good I look in this shirt.
You do look good,
because it is your shirt. I'm wearing your shirt.
You like it?
It is your shirt.
Yes, I love it. It's so comfy.
Yeah.
And I'm a tall, lean guy with broad shoulders, not like yours, but not unlike yours. And I got to say, it fits me like a glove.
You look pretty good, man. I love it.
TB12, that's a line you have now?
Alex and I basically have been working together since 2005 when I couldn't really throw the football. I loved to be like you. Your voice doesn't work. For me to be a quarterback, my arm doesn't work. I'm not going to have a job very long. And I was basically wanted to be a great player. And I knew that working hard was going to get me there. And I would work out and I would train and I would lift weights because everyone says lift weights and condition. And, that's where you're going to get, that's where you're going to be a better athlete. And then it got to a point where I couldn't throw the football because my elbow would hurt all the time. And really what happened was there was these muscles in my forearm got really tight. You know, you do curls and you curl your wrist. You can feel how tight your forearm gets. And then you do bicep curls because everyone's like, man, if you want to look good, you got to have bicep curls. So you do bicep
curls for the girls.
Exactly.
Curls for the girls.
Which is amazing. And I'm sure they love it, but you won't be able to throw a football.
No.
So, you know, you do your curls and you do your triceps. And then at the end of all those things, after a period of time, all the muscles get so tight and dense, they just pull in opposite directions. And they pull and they pull and they pull. And that little tendon is in there trying to hold on for dear life because you're putting all these forces on it from throwing, but you got muscles that are pulling in opposite directions. So when I met Alex through a friend of mine, a teammate of mine, he was like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make these really short muscles long by a lot of manual tissue work. All these muscles in your bicep that you want, you're going to make these long. And then we're going to make your tricep muscles long. And the muscle went from being really tight to now it's really long so that when I would put forces on it, it would lightly contract as opposed to just pull the tendon apart. I was like, that makes so much sense. Like, it was the first time in my life that I didn't have elbow tendonitis playing football.
Well, don't you think so much of the previous science, you even watch it, like I even see like the progression in coaching, right? Like we interviewed Pete Carroll. I love that dude. Yeah. I love that he is like the way he communicates, the way he makes an effort to understand where the person's coming from and yelling at people and calling them assholes isn't really productive. Like I love that. And I think so much of sports is still mired in this kind of machismo bullshit, right? So it's like, yeah, fucking curls, tries for the guys, you know, this whole thing. And there's been no scientific study to support any of this. It's just kind of like this old fashioned. And I think even the diet, right? The diet used to be like, you eat a goddamn T-bone and 3 baked potatoes before a game, son.
Yeah.
You really seemed open to different approaches.
Yeah.
Tell me about your diet. So I have arthritis. I have an autoimmune thing, psoriatic arthritis, and I've had to eat a certain way to not have inflammation.
Yeah.
And then a friend of mine showed me your diet, and I was like, that's pretty close to my diet.
Yeah.
Tell me how you got introduced to that and what change it's made for you. And is it fucking hard for you like it is for me? I find it hard.
Yeah, it's not like you can't go to the 7-Eleven and think you're going to find all the things you're looking for. I know that. But, you know, I think, again, for me, it was about, you know, a little progress over time. And it started with, hey, let's cutting out some, you know, hot dogs. And then it was like Subway. And then it was like, why don't we work toward like more proteins and veggies? And then it was like, okay, well, let's work more toward, you know, higher performance things. And let me try some more vegan meals. And when I met my wife in New York in 2007, there was a raw food restaurant, which I had tried that for the first time. And then it was like, okay, a little less steak. And then now it's like, okay, more vegetables. And then over time, what's noticed is like my taste buds change. And I went from like, all right, I loved Subway and Burger King and all those types of things to now it's like the thought of that is like, no way. I would just, if I want to eat a good meal, I'm thinking lentil soup. I'm thinking, you know, you know, hummus and guacamole and
this guy's the dream.
I know.
I can barely even stand it.
Shut up.
DQs.
I know.
Shut up. I'm just telling you the way it's just, unfortunately we do
no tomatoes, right? You don't fuck with tomatoes? Is that true?
I don't like them that much, so it's
that
easy
helps.
for me to kind of pass them up. So,
But in general, you do have an anti-inflammation approach. Is that true?
Absolutely. And I just looked at it again. For me, it all relates back to football. I mean, in a way, you know, it was all because I felt like this was going to help me be a better football player, and if I could be a better football player, I don't want to, you know, I'm making all these improvements. How do I get a little bit better? And I think those things led me to being a little more disciplined, which I would say I was definitely born with that. But then also, all right, like I can cut back on that. I don't even fucking like it anyway. I don't like it. Why do I have to eat it? You know, so why don't I adapt a little bit over time? And, you know, I would say anti-inflammation, because if you go work out for an hour and a half, inflammation, you know, it's not healthy to go run, you know, 10 miles. There's a lot of inflammation. I would say running is good for your heart and for your head. Other than that, there's a lot of downsides.
We are supported by Walden University. You know that feeling when you've been thinking about making a move, going after the degree, the promotion, the thing you keep telling yourself you'll get to someday? Walden University is built for that moment. For over 50 years, Walden has helped working professionals get the W, the knowledge, the skills, and the confidence to create real change in their careers and communities. Their programs are designed around your life, not the other way around. With tempo learning available in select programs, there are no rigid schedules or set weekly deadlines. You move at your own pace. And Walden's faculty aren't just academics. They're practitioners who bring real-world experience into everything they teach. From your first class to career coaching and beyond, Walden is your partner the whole way. Take the first step and learn at a pace that works for you. Visit waldenu.edu. Walden University. Set a course for change. Certified to operate by Chev. This episode is brought to you by SoFi, the all-in-one finance app where you can bank, borrow, and invest all in one place.
Let's talk bank accounts for a second. The average bank savings rate is 0.39% in interest. You're earning pennies on your savings, but it does not have to be that way.
With SoFi high-yield checking and savings, the money barely making moves sitting in your savings account can earn over 8 times the national average savings rate with eligible direct deposit.
No account or overdraft fees, which feels rare these days. You can get your paycheck up to 2 days early, perfect for getting ahead of a bill or grabbing what you need right when you need it.
Plus, get up to a $300 welcome bonus when you sign up with eligible direct deposit. Sign up for SoFi checking and savings at SoFi.com/armchair. SoFi checking and savings is offered through SoFi Bank N.A., member FDIC. Terms apply. This episode is brought to you by the new Max original comedy series, Stuart Fails to Save the Universe. From the world and creators of The Big Bang Theory comes a new comedy series. Stuart Bloom, comic book store owner and lovable underdog, accidentally breaks a device built by Sheldon and Leonard and kicks off a full-blown multiverse Armageddon. Now, he's on a mission to put reality back together alongside his girlfriend Denise, a geologist named Bert, and physicist Barry Kripke. Along the way, they're running into alternate universe versions of characters you already know and love. Check out the new Max original comedy series, Stuart Fails to Save the Universe, now streaming exclusively on HBO Max with new episodes Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Subscription required.
Triple shot half calf oat milk 2 pumps extra foam. Your coffee order might be getting a little complicated. Your toothpaste doesn't have to be. Arm & Hammer baking soda toothpaste keeps it simple with a powerful ingredient that works hard for you. Baking soda. That's why it's the #1 dentist recommended baking soda toothpaste. As you brush, the baking soda particles dissolve to help break down plaque and stains for a whiter smile. So your teeth can feel clean, look bright, and make brushing a no-brainer. Try Arm & Hammer toothpaste. Simple, powerful, clean.
I wish you hadn't said this. I bought Monica a treadmill for her birthday yesterday,
I
and
have to
now
return it.
now you're kind of ruining that present I got her.
Sorry, is it refundable, Monica?
I'll look into it.
I'll buy you
Actually,
whatever.
it's a great excuse for me to not go running, actually.
No, I just think some of the really extreme things, we know, they take a toll on your body and they're a little bit taxing. So why am I going to go finish practice? So work out before practice, go practice, and then come in and eat a bacon double cheeseburger. So inflammation,
negates all that.
inflammation. You know, so where does what's your body going to do? Your body's going to go like, okay, I'm done. Like fight or flight. I had enough. Tight muscles, slow movements, and then poor performance, and then look for a new job, and then talk about how great you could have been because, you know, that's it.
Yeah.
Does your wife ever hate your guts? Because I kind of think
No,
if I,
do you know who his wife is?
I do, but if I lived with you, I think I would be like, God, he seems to just be so disciplined. I could see it annoying
But
someone,
I'm sure
right?
she's the same way, right?
Is she the same way?
She's very disciplined. Don't give me that shit. You're very disciplined too. So get that shit out of here.
Okay.
What's he talking
We
about?
do sometimes eat Domino's.
I
though.
saw your wife walk across the field at the Olympics, right? Was it the opening ceremony in Brazil?
Yeah.
That's the first time I ever realized, like, that's violent on the body. Like, the model walk.
I know.
That was a long way to walk in those heels. I was like, I don't think I've been giving these gals enough credit. Like, that's hard on your body.
Yeah. She's had a fair share of like pretty tough injuries. Just because in order to make a picture look good, you got to create all these fun, crazy angles, and then you got to hold them. So you put your body in a funny position and then hold it for a minute. And then once your brain's like, oh, you want me to be like this? Okay, no problem. I'll just hang upside down. And then you get down, you're like, oh God, this thing's killing me. So I think all those things over time took a toll. She's had her really bad shoulders. She had like 10 dislocations on one side and 12 dislocations on the other. And she's she doesn't have very big joints. She's, I would say, more dainty. She's tall, but dainty. So, she just has these joints that are very hypermobile.
Is your boy on course to become 7 feet tall? I'd imagine with you two as parents, there's likelihood that we'll break 6'8".
I don't know. We don't want 6'8". I'm cool with like 6'3", 6'4", but that's too tall.
Okay, I have a couple of really just rapid fire questions for you. I'm going to ask a single Howard Stern-esque question, and that is, do you make love to your wife on a game day? Or is that off the table?
Oh man, that's probably
honest.
That's probably off the table.
That's off the table,
I
right?
wouldn't say it's probably never happened, but I don't think that would be the moment.
Okay, good. I expected that.
Yeah, that wouldn't be my pregame warm-up.
Do you have other quarterback friends? You know, the more famous you get, the more successful you get. And I don't expect anyone to shed a tear for any of us, but it can be very isolating in that very few people really end up being able to relate to what your day-to-day problems are. And you'd probably feel like a shithead telling some, guy who's scraping paint off a wall your issues. But do you have some friendships with some quarterbacks that you can relate to one another?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a lot of guys over the years, Brett Favre, Peyton Manning, even Joe Montana, Steve Young. Those are the guys, Dan Marino, Phil Simms, Boomer Esiason, and the newer guys, Russell Wilson, obviously. Aaron Rodgers been a friend.
Oh, he's a sweetheart, huh? I've hung out with him once or twice.
Yeah.
What a nice
He comes
guy.
from my alma mater, I think.
Cal?
Oh, dang
Oopsies.
it. From Georgia.
Georgia. Not many good quarterbacks out of Georgia.
Oh, well, I'm not surprised about that.
Just saying.
Well, Matt Stafford plays.
Well, okay.
He
Again,
He's
went to
not a
Georgia.
quarterback. Yeah, he did. While I was there.
I can't say anything bad about him. He plays in Detroit, and that's where I'm from.
Wait, I think you're also friends with my boyfriends. Are you friends with Ben and Matt?
Ben Roethlisberger?
No, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
Oh, yeah, them actors, yes. I am.
Yeah.
I like both
them
those guys.
actors.
Those silly
I thought we were
boys.
on the
Yeah, I'm
football
friends with them.
scene, yeah.
Okay, another two questions, really quick. Is it isolating being the leader of the team? Is it hard to be? Because I find myself sometimes when I direct things, I'm the boss, which is a weird position for me to have, and I just want to be cool with everyone. And then I hate when I have to be like, come on, man, you can work harder than that. Is it isolating?
You can't have any down days. I think if there's moments that have changed in my life, it's hard to just let your guard down. As you know, I mean, everyone knows that. We're in a very hypersensitive age to everything, and you're judged by one interaction. And, in that case, you don't want to be judged by one interaction, so you don't go out because you don't want to be put in a situation where, man, I had a really shitty day. Well, how was your, no one wants to hear that I had a really shitty day, but I had a shitty day. It's life, I'm a parent, I'm a brother, I'm a son, things happen in life, and you get bad calls and you got to deal with situations, and then you got to go out in public and be like, hey, this is great, and I think that mental fatigue, over time is like, I will be happy one day when I retire. I'm going to be like, I done it. Like, that's it.
Someone else be in charge.
Yeah, like, man, I did my time. I did it. I worked hard at it, but you know what? The time is over, and I'm not looking to recreate any of that.
That was going to be one of my other rapid fire questions, because we're in the rapid fire round right now. And I have followed, again, I know I've said this 20 times. I don't watch a ton of sports, but I'm so interested in athletes, and I love watching documentaries about athletes. And a common thing I seem to have observed is that post-career, and I think on the outside, people think it has to do with money and fame, and it's not at all, but the camaraderie that you've experienced over the last 21 years, that's a big fucking hole to fill.
Yeah.
And I think it was Brett Favre who's very open and honest in some documentary I watched, where he was like, there was just a fucking hole, right? And he ended up, I think, coaching like maybe his high school, like a high school team just to get back in the mix. I worry about you. I wonder, do you have a game plan for when you retired so that you don't become super sad?
No, I think I definitely will need some help when I'm done playing, to find some space to occupy the adrenaline, the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows of this. And I'm a big believer in psychology and, getting help. I've already obviously thought, okay, when it does happen, I'm feeling a huge void, and I don't know where that huge void's going to go. And it's not going to be like, hey, I'm going to be someone who doesn't want to put the energy that I have into something positive. And, I'm still going to want to do things, but at the same time, I'm missing something that I really did love. It would be like a really, like a tough breakup.
Yeah, I'm nervous for you.
Yeah.
Look, if you want to be bros, I'm at your disposal.
I'm in, bro. I thought we already started, man. What do you mean?
No, we're there. I'm laying into it too much. I have a question. What price have you paid for being so singularly focused on this endeavor?
I I think the thing that probably hurt that is most challenging for me is like when people say like, probably haven't been the brother that I could be, couldn't be the friend to certain people at different times, And my parents, I think I'm a pretty good son, but at the same time, sometimes the people close to you get the short end of the stick because you're always busy. You've always got one other thing. You always got work. You always got one more obligation, one more call, one more this. And everyone else who you think is, we're cool. So you can stay kind of, as a non-priority. And
yeah, you can take it for granted, right? Oh, that's there. We know we love each other and I'll have time someday.
I'll have time when football is done. I'll have time. When football's done, I'll have time. And, I will have more time, but that's probably the thing that's probably been the toughest because that's hard to hear, you think I'm putting a lot of effort into things, but the reality is other people, especially in your life, they're going to get better if you work at it and improve at it. But if you don't, then, it takes a different ride.
And now, okay, I think my last question, I would love to keep you for 10 hours, but what's the emotional experience of having left Boston after 21 years and going to a new team? And I just want to add into this because I want Monica to know, Tom could have gotten a lot more money for many years and he didn't take more so that he could get better players. Like his commitment to winning. I know. Did you read the Pat Tillman book by chance, Where Men Find Glory?
No, I didn't. Oh,
I encourage that.
Really?
Similar story to you. I mean, he would last draft to the Cardinals, and he was so loyal to that franchise.
Yeah.
He turned down way more money to play for St. Louis because they took the chance on him. Just so much integrity, that guy. Really inspirational. Yeah, what's the emotional feeling about leaving there and going to Tampa Bay?
It was tough. I mean, it was tough a tough decision to make when you've been 2 decades in one place. And it's a lot of emotions, a lot of memories. There's a lot of things, 20 years is a long time. So you've basically experienced every emotion and every high and low and every, experience you could have. So when you leave, it's kind of the chapter's closed, but you're taking all the relationships and all the memories. And for one reason or another, it didn't work that I was going to continue there. But, it doesn't take away from what I had. And what I had was actually made me more prepared for what I'm experiencing now. So for me to look at that experience and be grateful for what I've learned, the relationships I have, because they'll still be very important to me. Football players, we're all in a locker room. It's like we're going to space. It's like there's 4 or 5 months that locker room is tight. And then you have that with friends and it's like, it's amazing. So I got to plug this in or else my computer's going to die.
Okay.
Hold on. I got 1% left.
This is great. Watching him have to figure this out, right? Look how human he looks all of a sudden. He looked like a superhero this whole time, and now he looks like the same bumbling idiot we all are.
No, it was at 1%, and he, just like Tom Brady does, pulled it out last minute.
Oh, yeah, this is like a down to the wire. Yeah, 1%. You got to finish the interview with 1% less. Yeah, well, I'm sure you've done the math. I mean, that half of your life was playing for that team. It's incredible.
20 years of, one place, one way, one process. I've had a few different homes over that. I moved a few times, but it was incredible. It was perfect. I wouldn't change it. It wasn't, not every day was perfect, but it was everything that it was supposed to be.
So one thing, too, that I think is really special about your job and your life is that I'd compare it to acting a little bit. Like you get on a set, man, there is someone from every walk of life there. Yeah. And I have to imagine half of the fun of your job is what a diverse group of dudes, every socioeconomic group, every kind of background. Like, has it been wonderful to be immersed in so much diversity and different points of view?
Yeah. I mean, I think sports affords all those things. And I've been doing that for, 25 years, including college, and 30 years, including high school. And you come together, you just see a guy, and you see where he's from, and you see who he is, and you see him as a brother, and you go, all right, we're in this together. Let's see what you got. You look in the huddle, and I played with teammates that broke bones and broke ribs and internal bleeding and, blood coming out of their nose. They're warriors, they're gladiators. And I think I always say, I know the guys who I'd won. If I was ever in a foxhole, I know the guys that I'd won and they're with me, Yeah. And there's others that I know that I wouldn't. Sports brings that out of us. And it's like, you see everyone, they're good, they're bad, they're ugly, they're indifferent, they're pissed off mood, they're happy mood, the achievement of things. And
it's been a blessing for me. I don't want it to end, which is probably why I'm still playing,
Yeah. Well, I hope you don't stop. I think it'd be so awesome if you were out there in a wheelchair and you rolled back and still fucking dropped
One
that
more
bomb
pass.
80.
I'm getting wheeled out there. Just one more throw. I got it in there.
Well, Tom Brady, you're as nice as you are gorgeous, and we feel so flattered that you took time to talk to us. We were really, really excited. You were in the Bill Gates category of like thrill that you were willing to talk to us. So thanks so much for your time. Really look forward to seeing you play in Tampa Bay. And, anytime you want to chill with me, just let me know. I'll be there.
I'll call you up. Let's do it.
All right. All right, man. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right,
Fun
good
being
luck
with
down
you.
there.
Bye.